You're listening to the Welcome to the Rebellion podcast. Hey, Jay, are you ready? Because it's time to start the show.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Welcome to the Rebellion podcast. You're going to love this guest, a personal friend of mine, and you'll understand why when we get into it. I want to introduce Aaron D'Anthony Brown, writer, dancer,
What's up?
visual artist. I finally got him on the podcast. Finally got to meet you in real life not too long ago at the Richmond Fan Expo.
Yeah, a convention.
So you're not used to going to those type of conventions, are you?
I've talked to you about the people cosplaying and such, but first time experience. It was all right. I enjoyed it, and I got to see you and Gina. That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. No, I was getting to see you was pretty awesome. I haven't been to the Richmond area, man, in a long time. So it was neat. It was neat to see.
Yeah,
I probably couldn't live there, but I enjoy the sun.
Why not? Why couldn't you live there?
You know what it is. So I was born around Washington, D.C. I was born in Alexandria. So I was around the Virginia area there. And wintertime, when the snow and the leaves change, like the fall is beautiful. Right?
Yeah.
The leaves change and everything. That's beautiful. But when it gets like in the midst of winter, it gets really nasty cold. Like, and then everything looks gray.
Bad. Come on.
There's no leaves on the tree. The sky is always gray. There's no sunshine, and it's like, I just couldn't take it anymore. Now, I know some people listening will be like, Jay, why don't you try Buffalo or Canada if you want to feel cold? I don't want to feel that cold either.
Listen, when it snows, when it snows, it's beautiful. And not that it happens all the time, but I don't mind it. I like winter more, actually, now that I'm older. I don't know what it is.
All right, here's the thing. When it snows and the snow is falling, yes, you sit there and you're like, man, that's so beautiful. And it's covering everything, right?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful scene. Then the next day happens. And like the salt trucks are out there and people are plowing and it gets mushy, like that mushy area where it's like, if it gets a little warmer and it starts to melt, that sloppy.
Starts turning brown.
Ooh.
Brown and nasty, yeah.
That's a rough patch for me, man.
Undisturbed snow is where it's at.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. When you're looking out your window and you can hear like the Home Alone music or something, and it's just like Christmassy feel. You're like, oh, this is beautiful. It's a beautiful moment. I guess you could have that with anything too, like right before a storm comes or the quiet before the storm. Everything's kind of like a beautiful moment. Speaking of which, as the recording of this, October 7th, there is a major hurricane. Milton, of all things, Milton is coming my way, but I think we'll be fine. You guys never wait. Didn't Virginia go through like a bad storm years ago? It was like years ago.
Yeah, we did. I can remember a few, but it was a while ago. It's not something that you're used to if you live in Virginia.
Yeah. What happens here is you get the announcement, hurricane's coming. Then a lot of people go to the grocery store, Costco, and they buy up everything. It never fails. Even people that live here forever, you start panic buying. And what happens, us people that live in Florida, we're like, oh, don't panic buy. But they start panic buying. Then you're like, well, I got to get out there because these panic buyers are buying everything up. Yeah. So I got to at least get my stuff together. And then the closer it gets to the storm, it's weird. Like then the price gouging starts. Yeah. Then there's people standing on the side of the road. I got bottles of water, but it's $10. It's like all that stuff starts to happen. And but we want everyone to be safe. But I live close enough to Disney World here in Orlando that that's kind of the cue sign. It's like, is Disney World open? Yes. Well, okay. Can't be that bad in our area if they're keeping their employees there. But if they shut down early and the Waffle House shuts down, you're like, now you
let you know.
Yeah.
Don't mess with Waffle House.
No, man, they never close. If the Waffle House is closed, it's bad. So it's really bad. But yeah, people over there on Tampa and everything, they got the evacuation notice. So I hope we could look back on this recording and just like everybody got out, everybody's safe,
Yeah.
and there we are. So
I
anyway,
I
getting
couldn't
back
live in
to
those
Aaron.
places. I couldn't live there. I
Really?
because Richmond, I'm in Henrico, which is next to Richmond, and it's so centralized in Virginia. I like being on the coast. Like you have to worry about those storms. The storms that I
Yeah.
remember growing up, like they're so few and far between. Like I have recollections of like looking outside and like the wind is just like hammering the trees, and we had trees fall, but it's like if that happened, like it was crazy. But like you live in Florida and other places, like you know, okay, this is serious. Like this could actually happen. Here, you're just like maybe, maybe.
Well, if you buy I think the law was after 2006, if you buy a
Mhm.
house after '06, and they have to build it like to withstand a certain um number of hurricane 3 or a 4, something
Yeah.
like that. But and then the palm trees never really fall over, but yeah, you have to worry about the biggest problem is worrying about Billy Joe, your neighbor, who left all his lawn chairs outside and a bunch of sticks or coconuts or something that go
Uh-huh.
flying in the wind that will come and crash your window. That's the biggest issue, other than the storm, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the worst hurricane I ever went through, it was a while ago. It was Wilma. I was in Fort Lauderdale,
Mhm.
and all I lost was power for 2 weeks. You know, that gets rough after day two.
I believe
Like
you.
after day two, you're kind of like, okay, no air conditioning, no fans. It's starting to get hot.
Yeah.
Nothing to cook with. What's open? Where can we go? Then you go out to eat, and you're like, all right, this is gonna start to get expensive.
Yeah.
Then the crazy thing happens. Like your friends start sending you texts. They're like, hey, I got power. All right. So Greg over there's got power. Get
We're
everything out of
crashing.
the freezer. We're going to Greg's house.
Yeah.
We're gonna put it in his freezer. So
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, that's how it happens. But that was the worst one. Everything other than that, I think even in Fort Lauderdale and living in Miami and going through some of the bad storms, never, thank God, never just a loss of power for a few days. Since I've been in Orlando, just a bad storm and everything kind of closes down early and everybody
Hmm.
watches and then we're fine. Like not even a loss of power.
That's
Not
good.
yet. So yeah. So we'll hopefully, the same thing and everyone is safe over there
Yeah.
on
Gotta pray
Tampa.
for him.
But getting back to you, so I love I love what you call yourself, writer, dancer,
Yeah.
and
Do a little bit
visual
of that.
artist.
Yeah.
Writing is a passion of yours.
It is. Yeah. I've been writing since. So I want to say since middle school. So back then, eons ago, I would I guess disrupt my classmates. Now I was a good student, just FYI. But at times I would start talking to my classmates, and then I would just tell these stories. I wouldn't even write it down. I would just tell these stories. I remember telling this buddy of mine, I think his name was Jonathan, this I was like making up on the spot this horror story about Santa Claus of all things. And
Someone stole that and made it into a movie.
yeah, there's been so many of those kinds of movies. But I remember I have these memories of moments like that, and I'm telling him this story, and then he's like reacting to it, and then I'm thinking, wait, I like his reaction. I want to get more of this. And so I started telling other stories, and then at some point I went from just telling them to actually writing them down. And middle school, high school, I know I was definitely writing in high school, but I want to say that it started in middle school, and back then it was mostly like comics that I would draw and then write in the dialogue, that sort of thing.
It's usually, but you had to become a student of English writing, correct? To like be an author and like studying the grammars, the different
Sure.
thing. Was that something that you enjoyed or
I do
or not
now.
really? Oh, you
I
do
do
now.
now.
Okay.
So I would say I was good in school. Like I behaved, I learned. I can't say that I was always invested in
Oh,
the
yeah,
in the
yeah.
lessons. Sometimes I was just doing homework. Sometimes I was bored, but I did my work. So I would say back then I didn't enjoy it, but I was taking in the information. And then as I got older, I started to appreciate education more, and I started paying more attention, especially in college. I started paying more attention to what people were doing. Like, I like this story. Why do I like this story? Or I
Right.
like this movie. Why do I like this movie? And the more I asked myself that question, and I spent a lot of time looking at bad stuff too, because there's so many bad horror movies, a lot of trash, a lot of trash. And I call it like I see it. Uh, for real, my family, especially my older sister, or my oldest sister, she makes jokes about me. She'll ask me for my opinion. She'll say, "Uh-oh, he's about to be harshly
He's
critical."
about to. It's like, you want my opinion? All right.
Yeah, right, right.
Here we
Um,
go.
so I've looked at what people do well, what people don't do well, and tried to incorporate that in my own work. And it's trial and error.
Oh,
Everything that I've
absolutely.
written hasn't been good. I've written trash too, but I've striven to learn and grow as I've gone and get feedback too.
So listen, a lot of people don't know this about me, or
Mhm.
maybe they don't even believe me.
Uh-oh.
But
Uh-oh.
I was a history major in
Mhm.
college,
Well, I didn't know
and
this. Okay. History
and
major.
yeah, yeah. So I've got a history, and most of it was Roman history, and then
Mhm.
it was world religions. Like, those were the things that I study for. I have no idea why. I
Mhm.
just love history. I love it. Like, I love studying and reading
Mhm.
history, especially like now. Like, people know me that I love pirate history only because I'm fascinated with the fact that these characters that we have, let's just take Blackbeard for instance. You read one book on the history of Blackbeard and it tells a tale. You
Mhm.
read another and it has some similarities but a lot of difference, and they start to counteract each other, right?
Mhm.
Then you read another and it's completely different. Then you read another, and then you have to find the authors that actually did serious investigation on these characters. And it's like, now you ask people about who Blackbeard was. Oh, he was the coolest pirate in the Caribbean. It's like, where we got this figure from history to where it is now. It's just, to me, it is beyond fascinating. I
Yeah.
love that stuff. But the one thing that I hated, some of the classes that I had to take was historical writing. And they would not allow me, when I cited sources, to use APA. I had to use one of the most ridiculous way. I can't remember what it was called now, but
Chicago? Was it
might have
Chicago?
been that. It might
Yeah.
have been that. It's where, like, you got to put the name, extra commas, and then two periods, and if you do one little thing off, the instructor, like, all right, you get a bad grade for not citing your source properly.
Yeah.
I'm like, APA is so easy. You just kind of like get the biography and you just stick it up there. If it's a little backwards, most
You
of them
think
didn't.
APA? I think MLA is the easiest, and
Or
then
maybe I'm
APA.
talking MLA. Yeah, yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. But I'm like, that drove me crazy,
Mhm.
and like, I never learned it. Finally, one of my professors was like, Jay, take this book. It's like this big. I still have it. I think it's in my garage in a
Yeah.
box. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
like this big, on how to do proper historical source when you write a paper. And I'm
Yeah.
looking at it like, are you serious, man? Like, I don't I don't want
That's a
to
lot.
do that.
That's a lot.
Like, it's like, I don't want to learn that because I don't plan on being like a historical book writer.
Uh-huh.
Like, hold on, let me look this up. Different ways to cite
I hated that in college too, Jay. You are not alone.
sources.
Citations were
Yeah,
a
in
pain.
in an essay for a research paper. Yeah, let's see what
Yeah.
let's see what Google tells us here. We have, yeah, APA, MLA. Actually, I think I'm gonna go back. I think APA was easy for me.
Really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that was the one that I gravitated to easier. Chicago
Yeah.
style or Harvard style.
I've never done that. Harvard.
So, but yeah, so it was like each. I think it. Yeah, APA is widely used in social sciences,
Mhm.
emphasizing author date format. Yeah, that's it. MLA is primarily used in humanities. Oh, maybe it
That's why.
was.
That's why I was using MLA. But yeah, I feel like history will fall under that too.
Man, they used like I think the Chicago style is the one this teacher had me use. It was just a pain
It
in
was
the
awful.
butt, man. It was
I
aw
believe you.
and the
I
thing is too,
believe
it's
you.
like if you don't do it the way the teacher wants it, the professor wanted it,
You lose points.
yeah, big time.
Yeah.
But I so as a person that understands English literature and how to write and things like that, like with the grammar and everything. Going back, like, okay, so all right, before I ask this question, let me
Mhm.
just state this. We now
Okay.
have the technology where I could take the book title and run it through an app and it will give me the proper source citing without me having to do anything. It just will automatically give you MLA, ABA, like boom, boom, boom. It'll knock
Mhm.
them all out for you. You just copy and paste over.
Mhm.
So do you think because of like all this technology that we're gonna like lose a lot of like how we used to do things, or is it just something that we need to embrace?
No,
Because like with Chat GPT, it's like you could type in something now and like, give me
print
historical
something
facts
out.
on Blackbeard, and it'll just be
Mhm.
like boom, 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 boom. There you go. And it's like, all right, give me the citation for this book. It's like boom, boom. There it is. It's done. So it does the work for you. There's no more research anymore.
No, I hear you. Should we embrace it though? So I say no, but if you're a college
Mm,
student and I say that and you're thinking, I mean, naturally, because I mean, we were in college, you're thinking, well, I'm the one getting the grade, so you're
yeah.
not going to pass it up. And I definitely use those citation generators when I was there. But now that I'm a bit older and I've talked to people who are older than I am, it, you definitely start to recognize the ways in which technology it helps, but it also hurts us. I mean, the way that we're typing, right? We type things on our messages on a computer, so people don't write as well. Like people have poor handwriting, um,
Yes.
and then people are relying on autocorrect, so they don't know how to spell words,
Yeah.
like even basic words. So is it something to embrace? I don't think so. I and I say that because when you embrace it, you're like trading off skills that you would otherwise have. And I don't know, there's just something
How do
human
you get
about
around it though?
writing.
That's the thing. Like
It, I don't know.
we live in
I
a
don't know.
text world. And as an author,
Mhm.
does it drive you crazy when you just get like, text is nothing but run-on sentences and broken words
Dude,
and
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like when I'm on YouTube and I'm reading comments sometimes, uh like they'll say something and it's like more than one sentence, but there's no punctuation, no
yeah.
capitalization. And I'm thinking, wait. And I have to slow down because I'm trying to understand it. And that's it's not good. And I get it. It's just something quick. Like some people might think, well, don't take it too seriously. And it's just a quick message, just a comment. But these people, I don't know that they would all know how to write correctly if you asked them to. Like that's the scary part for me.
Well, it's I think we're seeing signs of it of people not being able to write correctly.
Mhm.
And I don't know, like is there an amazing storyteller writer that's around today? Maybe I guess you could put Martin in there, but like a C.S. Lewis type
Mhm.
that people would like. I don't know about you, but C.S. Lewis's writings were studied in some of my history classes just on how perfect his grammar was,
Yeah.
and
We
like
didn't
all
study
his
them.
all his like handwritten work. It was just like so
Mhm.
perfect. And
Mhm.
we had to break down the sentences, and say this is what that is, this is what the was, and oh
Mhm.
man, you're just kind of like, so they give you like a couple paragraphs of some of his work,
Mhm.
and you just had to say like, what is this? That's the noun, the verb, but it goes deeper than that, conjunction, all that stuff, and
Mhm.
um, so you understand exactly what that is. But yeah, the sadly is that like I think what's happening with AI is writing will be a
Don't say it.
lost form.
Don't say it.
And
Don't say it.
what's gonna happen is like down the road, what's gonna happen, people will have to put on their work, like not AI, right? Or
People
something like
have.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people are
that's
doing that
true. That's
now.
true.
That's crazy.
Even like music and stuff now. Have you heard like the AI music that
Yeah.
people can make?
That's so weird. It is so
Yeah.
weird to me.
Yeah. And it's
Like
just like
they've
you just
taken
type in
deceased people's
stuff
voices. Yeah. It's like, what? That's
and like
strange.
here's a song for you to sing. And then all that stuff is it I, I mean, honestly, I think it's going to be regulated by the government eventually because it's going to get too good
Mm-hmm.
where people won't even know what's real and what's not, which I probably some people are being duped now
I'm sure.
with certain things. And if you could put people likeness in something that is like a criminal activity or something, it's like
Mhm.
something's going to happen
Yeah.
where like they'll draw the line and it'll come back around. But right now, like there's definitely no play. Is there I don't know of anything. There's no way to trace like AI writing or anything like that, right? Or
There,
like
there's technology that people use. Like you can take a manuscript and run it through, like let's say a particular website provides the software. You can run it through, and
turn
then
it in.
yeah,
It's a
you submit
plagiarism
it.
checker, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's something like that. And so it'll scan the document looking for like certain qualities, and it'll give you a percentage as to whether or not it is, or how likely it is to have been written by AI.
Wow.
Yeah.
The thing is though, it's like we would not like a year ago, we probably wouldn't even be having this conversation. That's how fast this thing
Yeah.
is moving. And now, like even with the cell phones out, they you could take pictures and run it through the AI and it cleans everything up and it'll even give you a different background if you want it to
Oh,
make it look like you're in New York when you're actually in your home.
and it looks
You know,
real.
it looks real, which is
Interesting.
crazy.
Have you seen the aside from that, have you seen the AI art where people submit like they'll type in like a prompt and then they'll get an image back? Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, I use it.
Okay, you use it. Okay.
Yeah, I use it for my history of pirate videos. So it's like because there's no photos, of
Yeah.
like the pirates. So, but in the videos, in YouTube, there's a box that says, "Did you use AI to generate?" And like you click it because if you don't
Ah,
click it, and they think like, but I try to make it a little more cartoonish so it doesn't like look as real. I
uh,
mean, I don't think anyone's gonna watch one of my history videos and go, "Wow, that's real." And be like, "Oh my gosh, he found a picture of Blackbeard on his ship." It's
mm,
so I try to type it in a way where at least it looks like more of a cartoon drawing than real. Or so people are like, yeah, it's obviously an AI picture because I'm not trying to deceive anyone and say I got actual footage
sure.
of stuff.
You
But
went back in time.
some of the likeness, well, now they're doing like movies, like all
What?
AI films. And
AI films? What?
yeah, there's a YouTube channel that I follow that all they do is they do AI trailers. So they make all these trailers, and it's all done with AI. Here, I'll show you. This is I'll pull this up. It's fascinating. I don't
Yeah.
know what kind of tech. I don't know what he uses. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. But so like they take like here's the movie RoboCop. So they made an AI teaser
Oh, okay.
trailer
Okay.
they're like, this is what RoboCop would look like in the 1950s.
Yeah.
All right. This is what Justice League would look like if it was made in the 1950s. And it's all like AI. Right.
Gotcha.
So then he talks about like how he made like he shows like how he did it here with like some of the technology. So he's not hiding it, that
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
doing. But it's fascinating. So like here's Star Wars A New Hope 1950, right? What it would look like to be 1950. Here's the thing. He's got 56 videos and 72,000 subscribers. Some of these videos, I'm assuming he's monetized.
It's a
They're
lot of
getting
cleavage in those
millions of
videos.
views, right? Yeah, they're a little chesty, aren't they? But they're getting like they're getting millions of views. This is Terminator 1950s version.
Interesting.
This dude is making a lot of money,
Yeah.
which I don't know how much
It's a Sailor Moon.
like I don't know how much work he's putting into it. I mean, he's
Uh,
obviously doing something, but this could be like the future for YouTubers and stuff like that to make a living just by making like these videos are like a minute long. So they're not
oh,
long,
wow.
but
Interesting.
they're getting like crazy amounts of views. Like this one, that one was 1 million, another million, almost 1 million.
Yeah.
And it's who knows what they could do next. I follow him. There's tons of them already out here like that
Yeah.
that do these type of short films, and they're making a lot of money doing so. And good on them. Hey man, they found something, and they're doing well, I guess, with it. I don't know specifically. I've never spoken to this guy, but
Yeah.
like as someone that's on YouTube and monitors how much you get paid per view and things like that, 1 million views is very good.
I believe you.
Like it's very good.
I believe you.
So, but
I think my feelings are a bit mixed on AI because I see that, and like I don't have any issues with that. And even I don't have issues with AI art in principle, but I think my concern is it's substituting those who are actually like making it. So for example,
correct.
as a writer, there are people who are using AI to just write stories. I don't think those stories should be supported monetarily because the person doesn't even really have the skills aside from typing something into a prompt as opposed to somebody writing it from beginning to end.
That's well, I mean, obviously my background is not real. It's also
Sure.
AI generated. A friend of mine made this for me.
Uh-huh.
So I'm a little more professional, But
Mhm.
I mean, I could easily like if I could easily like I could go to my living room,
Mhm.
as you can see. I can go to the other game room that's over here. As you can see.
I like that one.
I
That's
can go to
nice.
my pirate ship, which is right here.
You have a pirate ship too.
Yeah, and then when it's time for Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
and there we go. Like if I wanted to go to the other
Ooh,
bar, but yeah. So that's the wonderful world of AI. But no, I
that's
agree with
nice.
you because I think what will happen is people are going to see this as an easy money maker,
Hmm.
and they will just pump out tons of work at a record pace.
Yeah.
For instance, we're going to talk about one of your books, and then we're going to talk about how I know you soon. But we're going to talk about one of your books, Honey Dreams,
Yeah.
and which is available on Amazon,
And Barnes and
correct,
Noble.
and Barnes and Nobles.
Yeah.
I will have the link in the description, so please go support and check it out after we finish talking about it, so you can go and pick up Aaron's book. But people can, with the way it works with, and correct me if I'm wrong, the way it works with
Sure.
Amazon, you can write a story, open up an account on Amazon, and then submit your work.
Yeah.
And then it's in your account, and whoever has an Amazon account can buy and get it shipped to their home.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
is it also on Kindle as well? Like,
Yeah. So when you are submitting your work, you elect to have it as an ebook, have it printed. You make that decision. You can get soft cover, hardcover, that sort of thing.
so there's really no excuse if you want to be an author to get your book out to the masses.
You can do it. You can
Yeah.
absolutely do it. It
So
just requires a lot of work, but you can do it.
yeah. So the tools are there. But what I was saying is, like, I can easily see like someone just using AI to pump out thousands of books a month and putting it on Amazon
Yeah.
from all kinds of topics,
Yeah.
whatever starts hitting, and it's just like, you put out, and then it doesn't really cost them anything, correct? It's just basically opening an account and just
Yeah.
pumping out stuff, and if someone buys, they buy, and you get a percentage, and if they don't, they don't.
Yeah.
You know.
Amazon gets their cut of the product. So yeah, signing up is fine. Like they will make their money. Rest assured.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild. Um I think there's going to be some kind of, sadly, the government will step in eventually, because
Mhm.
man, again, like if the technology gets good and you want to frame someone,
I
you
know.
know,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't like that guy, so let's put him in a video doing something illegal, and we'll
Yeah.
throw it out on social media and see what happens, and it'll get investigated, and then it's like, nah, well, it's not even me,
Yeah.
so
There was
it's
a case like that, and I wish I remember the details, but
really, there's a case like that already.
yeah, was someone use audio, like AI audio, to frame. I want to say it was a principal, and it
I
was
did
one of the
not know
teachers
that.
that did it, and it was like some racial allegation, some racist statement that the principal allegedly said in the audio, but it was fake. They found out.
That's
I know, crazy, right? Crazy.
unbelievable.
I know. I
Um,
know.
well, let's talk about like I'm gonna blow this up here real quick so people could see. Tell me about Honey Dreams. What is this book about?
Sure.
And what inspired you to write it? And what's like who did you draw the cover as well?
Yeah, I did. I did. I
Oh, so you just
draw.
did everything. You mean that's not AI? That's not an AI cover?
No, no. I drew that, drew the front and back cover. So, Honey Dreams is a collection of short stories, of 20 stories in total. And these stories capture my experiences in relationships with women, both real and imagined. And I say imagine because I have tried to capture the experience of wanting a relationship and then not having it, but also having a relationship and it not being what I thought that it was going to be. And in this book, I am sort of comparing and contrasting the real thing with the imagine, the imagine relationship. And there's this ideal versus real, and I struggle with that. I struggle with that,
Mm.
and the struggles are what led to me writing it. It was heartbreak. Um, so I started when I first started Honey Dreams. It wasn't Honey Dreams. It was just a story that I wrote. So the first story in the book is called Half Hearted Love, and there was a woman that I was dating in college, and it's crazy. And I write about this in the book. It was an on and off again relationship, and she broke up with me 14 times. Which is crazy thinking back. But I stuck
Uh,
around.
yeah. Hey, man. I mean, maybe
Uh,
could have stuck it out through 15, then maybe that would have.
listen, 14 is crazy. But I used to journal, and I still journal, but I started journaling back in I think it was like sophomore year of college, and as I journal, I was trying to understand myself and my relationships. Where was I going in life? That sort of thing. Trying to connect with God. And at some point, because I was a writer, I said, why don't I just write about my relationship, my experience in this relationship? And that relationship inspired the very first story of the book. And writing offered relief. It offered perspective. There was this emotional release that I could just put out on the paper. And I enjoy that. And after the first story, you're breaking up 14 times. There's a lot of inspiration to be found.
Now, does the person know that she was the inspiration of
Yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
she does. When I first wrote it, I ended up like workshopping it in class, and apparently one of her friends was in my class, and I thought to myself, well, she might go and tell her. And she did. She ended up telling the lady that I had written a story about her. Didn't like it. She did not like it. But hey, what are you gonna do? Um, so that's the first story, and I continue to feel inspiration for good and bad reasons, and I found that writing stories, as with journaling, is just a good way to release emotions. It's a good way to get my thoughts on paper.
Well, see that you know what's interesting is I actually I actually tell people this all the time. I was like, a lot of people are going through who knows what people are going through watching this.
Yeah,
Some people are going through horrific things in relationships, financially, whatever, just
yeah.
like heartbreaking, abuse, whatever. And they don't know where to put that, all that stuff that's being built up. Some people find a way. They find it in exercise, they find it in
Mhm,
faith, they find it in purpose, they find it in, like, for instance, yourself writing,
mhm.
things like that. And I always like try to encourage people to find that something some kind of passion that is building up inside of you, and be a part of it, because it not only does it helps on so many levels. But I tell people, like, to start my day, I heard, and this helped me when I was like dealing with crap years ago, but
Yeah.
somebody said, listen, if you feel like you're living in nothing but failure, or life just stinks or whatever, every morning when you wake up, find 3 things to be thankful for, even if it's just for running water or a toothbrush in your home.
Mhm.
If that's all you can find. And start your day every single day. 3 things. What are
Mhm.
you thankful for? Find it. Find the little things. Then find a little bit, then maybe you'll find some bigger things. Then you'll find some bigger things.
Mhm.
And your mentality for your entire day is starting off being grateful, and thankful, even in the midst of, like,
Hardship.
it just makes your day a little bit different.
Yeah.
And you start to dwell on the brighter side of stuff instead of like the negative side of stuff, which is
Mhm.
so easy to fall into, like victimhood, right? Things like
Mhm.
that. The fact that you found a passion in writing where you could take, pain and put it on paper,
Mhm.
and you're like, yeah, that was therapeutic for me. Is that the right term I could use? Like,
Yeah,
almost therapeutic. That's
it
amazing.
was.
And I think more people need to figure that out in their own lives, and where they get to get that stuff out of their system.
I
You
agree
know,
with you. I think sometimes people are afraid to do that because you have to engage in a lot of introspection.
and
And
that's what this podcast is all about: rebelling against your fears.
yeah, yeah.
Like, that's the whole thing. Welcome to the rebellion. I rebelled against my fears, and I threw it out there. And for
Uh-huh.
whatever it is, I was proud that I did it. Anyway, continue. Just
Yeah. No,
nice transition right in there.
I agree with you. Yeah. I think if we can rebel against our fears, we grow so much. So
Yeah.
back then, I cannot tell you that I woke up and I was thinking to myself, what am I grateful for today? I am that sort of man now.
Mm,
Like when I journal, I write down like what am I grateful for today or this week or whatever, and I make that a regular practice because it changes your mindset.
yes.
I think in terms of like channeling hardship and then turning that into something, I think sometimes people are afraid of that because they just like it requires you to take a step back and really
Yeah.
look at stuff objectively. And like I didn't I used to think to myself, yeah, I look at stuff objectively, of course. Why wouldn't I? But I wasn't seeing everything then. I mean, because if I did, a woman wouldn't have left me 14 times.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
a lot. And so I had to realize, okay, sure, I can see ways in which she can grow, but I can grow too. And so in this book, it's not just a like woe is me. Like there's definitely suffering in these stories, but there's acknowledgement that I could do better. A lot of the stories are fiction, but they are inspired by real experiences that I've had, and not just with that woman, but another woman that I had a long term relationship with, and even just crushes.
Yeah.
Either someone had a crush on me or I had a crush on her, that sort of thing.
The beautiful thing about being a human is that the ability to learn and grow.
Hmm.
And I think that a lot of that is lost in today's world when everyone is searching for perfection in
Hmm.
everything. Perfection in their friends, perfection in their relationship, perfection in their job, perfection in their happiness. There's no People never give anybody room to grow. It's just so quick. Oh, you're voting for this guy for president? Then you must be a terrible person.
Yeah.
Oh, you listen to this type of music? I'm done. Oh, you like this movie? You're this. Oh,
Yeah.
you criticize this movie? You're a bad person. We just like actually yesterday, not to bring up too much pop culture, but it's
Sure.
all in our world. One of the actors from this horrific Star Wars show come out and basically said people that criticized the show and didn't like it are probably racist. And it's not like,
Uh-oh.
it's like, really?
Uh-oh.
It's like this is where we are now.
Yeah.
Like, criticism is bad because if you criticize, you're a bad person. There's no forgiveness. It's just like it just doesn't seem to exist in our world, the social media world that we live in at the moment. You mentioned Gina at the
Mhm.
beginning when you met her and like what she went through. You know, she was
Yeah.
labeled as the worst human being in the world for having a difference of opinion and asking questions
Yeah,
about
don't
all
ask
this
questions.
lockdowns and COVID stuff that was happening in 2020. And now she's been, blacklisted from Hollywood because, yeah, don't ask questions. We can't have any of
Yeah.
that stuff walking
Mm-mm.
around. You
Mm-mm.
need to get in line.
But I think we obviously need more questions. I never
Mm,
so I've thought about the culture, and I've recognized that people are very easily offended.
yeah.
And I've never equated it to what you mentioned though. So I find that profound. Like this need for perfection. I've never thought about it that way. But I think you're right. People, because if they aren't perfect and then you're questioning them, like you are revealing to them, like, hey, you may have done something wrong. And people don't like that. They want to be
Yeah.
right with
That
how they
and that's
believe, whatever.
I know. And it's like they gotta be on the right side of yeah.
Everything.
Yes, everything is right in their own eyes. And the thing like when you get to Hollywood, just we live in this weird time where they could put out bad movies
Uh-huh.
and they never blame themselves. They never say, no, the movie wasn't bad. It's you're the problem,
I hear that so much.
you
No,
know?
your movie is trash.
Yeah. And it's
That's the
like,
truth.
no, it's like the writing was bad, the acting was bad, like the
Uh-huh.
story sucked, like, and we didn't
Uh-huh.
enjoy it. No, you're the problem because I made a great film.
That's crazy.
And it's
That's
just
crazy.
like, okay. And then
Yeah.
it's like, well, it didn't make any money. Well, that's because everybody's a racist. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, can't not one person like will come out and go like, hey, we did our best. People didn't accept it. We're gonna go back to the drawing board. We hope we can put something together that people will enjoy, and
Mhm.
and have a good time. It's never that. It's always I call it the original sin. I always call it like it's the pass the blame, you know? It's
Mhm.
like God went to Adam, like, Adam, why you bite that apple? Didn't I tell you not to bite that apple? He goes, man, it wasn't me. It's the
She told me.
woman's fault.
Yeah, she told me.
And, okay, hey, woman, would you bite that apple? Didn't I tell you not to bite? I didn't do it. It's the snake's fault,
Mhm.
So it was like, let's just pass the blame. We got caught. We did something wrong, but it's not our fault. It's somebody else's fault, even though we were told not to do it. So it's the
Yeah.
concept of passing of the blame. So
I don't know how you solve that. If
yeah,
without God, I think having faith keeps you grounded.
yes,
And when you believe in God, you recognize that there's someone higher than you that you answer to. And I think you also recognize your fallibility. And I think that there's so many people who just they don't want to be wrong. You and that's why they're so easily offended. That's why they have such weak worldviews. They don't want to hear that they've misunderstood something, or something that they believed since childhood is incorrect, or that their candidate is a bad person. It's like, no, I'm right, you're wrong. You're not just wrong, you're racist, you're misogynist, you're whatever. Insert whatever ism.
yeah. We used to be a time. There used to be a time where I could disagree with where you stand on certain issues, but still go out and like have a pizza,
Yeah, I
and like laugh
totally,
at other stuff.
totally. Yeah,
It's
because you
like,
don't
hey, we
have to
both
talk
like
about it.
Star Wars. Well, I
Uh-huh.
don't like the way he votes, and I don't like, but still, it doesn't matter. We're gonna go out and have a good time, and
Yeah.
like we'll have a little debate, and then once it's over, it's like, okay, well, let's just what you doing next week? You want to play some
Mhm.
golf or something? It's like it seems like that has been thrown out the window as well. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can get back to that. How boring would writing cinema, the world be if everyone had to agree on the same exact 10 points, in all that you do?
I
So
hear you. Isn't
it'd be
it
pretty
weird?
dull, right?
It would be. Isn't it weird? I heard this mention. I listened to Candace Owens' podcast, and she mentioned that it's so weird that the celebrities so often have the same opinion on everything. And I hadn't thought about that, but that's a great observation. That is so weird. Like that is dull in itself. Like, why do all these people think the same way?
It's like
That's
they get a
strange.
cue card at the beginning of the year and they're like, make sure
Yeah.
here are the 10 points you have to agree with and tweet about and no matter what. no matter what happens.
Don't deviate.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, don't, and you're kind of like, because some of the stuff they say, you're like, really? So like this one
Do they actually
guy,
believe it? Yeah.
George Takei, he played Sulu in Star Trek.
Mhm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
I
probably
was not a Star Trek person.
yeah, I hear you. He is very much a left, but like he's a
Uh-huh.
leftist. Fine, he lives in a free country. You can vote the
Uh-huh.
way you want. But some of this thing he's posting is like he just posted yesterday, like, I know people want more money to help the victims in North Carolina,
Mhm.
but the real victim is America because we're not taxing billionaires to pay their fair share.
Gosh.
And you're like, what? I'm like, what kind of a statement is that? People are losing everything, their homes and everything. And you're like, well, if we tax billionaires, this wouldn't happen. Are you freaking kidding me, man? Like,
Yeah.
read the room just a little bit, maybe think before you post something, but it was just a campaign. It was just a campaign remark, and like you read through like what people were saying after he posted that, and I couldn't find one person agreeing with him. They're like, hey man, this ain't the time,
Yeah.
maybe wait a little bit on something like that. But but I think that's what makes America still like beautiful, is that we can disagree and go about our days, and that the freedom for him to post something like that is still there, just like the freedom for me to counter post that is still there. The freedom for you to write stories that you want to write is still there.
Yeah.
Let's pray to God that we never get to that place where if you want to publish a book and it's like, I don't like that. I don't like how you wrote
I
that,
hope we
sir.
don't get to that point.
So,
I hope not.
and then basically you throw it out there and you let the people decide. So that's,
That's where I am. I want people to decide. On the note of people thinking alike, I can't name to you one person where I always agree with them. Like I listen to Candace Owens, as I mentioned, but I don't always agree with her. I like Matt Walsh. I don't always agree with him. Uh, in my family, I don't always agree with them. I don't always agree with
yeah,
myself.
yeah,
So I don't. I think we should always be open to correction, because there's no way that
yes,
you're always right. There's just no way.
yes, and I think that's the problem for a lot of people, is that they are not open.
Yeah.
They got the
Yeah.
blinders on and they're going straight. And
Yeah.
it's like, take some time and educate yourself. Like I need some like, because there's issues that I'm like, hey, I agree with this, and then you educate yourself and you're like, well, now that I know what's really going on, I don't really like this anymore. It's
Mhm.
like, and like, do I not have the freedom to change my mind once I educate myself on a certain topic? Yeah, I think that's the beautiful thing also about being a Christian. It's like
Yeah.
you're constantly learning. And for me, God is always like challenging what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, where
Yeah.
I'm going. He puts people in my life that
Help you
at the
grow.
time you're like, well, I don't, okay, someone's in my life here, and how do I deal with that? And it's just that's I think that's just how God works.
Yeah.
Because if God just said, oh, you're a Christian now, boom, you know everything, you know what to do, and then that's it, I'm done, like enjoy your life,
Yeah. You're
I think
perfect.
it would be boring.
I hear you.
Because like I could go this to church Sunday and listen to a sermon on on being thankful and learn something completely new that came out of the Bible that I've read a million times, but I never looked at it in the way that somebody's presenting it. And
Yeah.
like, okay, this makes a lot more sense to me now. And
Yeah.
this is something I want to start practicing that I didn't do before.
Yeah.
And
100%.
yeah, you grow as an individual. So, but speaking of books, this is something I told Aaron to take down, but he left it up anyway.
Uh-oh.
Right here, he said client. He's got my name here under client.
And we've talked about it, but come on.
Friend, co-creator, whatever, different names, but it's all right. Client. There it is. If it helps your Google search, for people to find your site, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's how we'll look
So,
at it.
this is so for those wondering, if you purchase Achromatic Chronicles, you're gonna see a name especially on green, while we're like switching over like blue, you're gonna see Aaron's name on there because I found Aaron years ago, man, when we started this project, and I didn't know how blue. I didn't know how Achromatic Chronicles Blue was going to. I didn't know what was going to happen. So when I found Aaron and I contacted him and I was like, "Hey, you do editing and stuff?" He's like, "Yeah, I do editing." I'm like, "Here's a story for you. Let me know like." And it was like, this is gonna take a little time with this type of writing here style that you." So the friendship has developed where you came back to me. I remember you coming back to me and you said there's a part in the story that's missing something big. It's missing the whole part, and that is where. And I don't want to spoil it for those that haven't read it. There's a part that was missing, and you said, "Hey, I think I would you mind if I added this into it?" And you created it all yourself, like this whole thing. And it's become like the centerpiece of the story. It was beautiful. And I was like, man, this is awesome. And we originally were going to do like a novel, but then I took like what Aaron was writing and then I took it to a scripter and then we had Achromatic Chronicles Blue and I didn't know what was going to happen. 5 people were going to buy it, 2 people, 1,000 people. I didn't know. So this was like the original. Like we threw this out there.
Yep.
And it was bigger than I ever thought. And so, it was a beautiful thing to see where now the money that was made, we were able to finish the story with green. And oh man, we can't go too. I don't want to spoil anything. We're not going to go too deep because like we want you to enjoy the story. But Aaron has taken this amazing story and he's putting together the novelizations. Am I allowed to say that? So you're making the novelizations, which should be available.
You use that word. Listen, I don't know if that's a novelization.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to be careful here. Like, I don't know.
A novelization.
Novelization. Well, it's a graphic novel now, but eventually people are going to be able to buy a book. Right?
Novelization. Sure. It's go ahead. Say what you said again.
Is that what we're going to call it? Eventually, we'll be able to buy a book with no pictures.
Yes. Hold on, I'm looking up the definition because I don't even use that word, but it sounds like something that you would turn into a novel. It's a derivative novel that adapts the story of a work created. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it is the novelization, though it was the original. Like it was originally a novel.
Yes. That's what was going to happen. And the original story for that, going back, man, what was it like 3 years ago that we started talking about this? 3 or 4?
That it was in 2019, I think, when we first started working
together. It's been a minute. Yeah, it's been a minute when we started this whole journey.
Yeah, it was 2019.
Because the artist, this took over a year for them to draw, And then once I got it, I was kind of like, okay, let's see what happens. I wanted the book completed first before I sold it. So I had it in my hand to say, once it's done, it's done. And then after Blue is a success, I sent you an email. I'm like, hey man, remember me?
Yeah, a random email. And I don't even remember when that was. Because we stopped.
Yeah, I know. It was just like, hey, so you want to talk on the phone?
It was like years later. You and I stopped in 2020. Was it 2022? Was it? I think it's 2022, I want to say. Yeah, randomly. A random message.
And I was like, hey, let's talk on the phone. And I'm like, and now here we are.
Yeah.
And now Aaron is a huge part of this story. And what he has added and what he has done and the things that he is putting out is you guys are going to love it. Like it is, he has taken the original concept of what the original concept was. And I've told people it was one big novel. And each chapter was a color. So it was like blue, then it was green, then it was the next color, then it was the next color, then it was the next color. And then that was going to be the end of it. And I was like, that would be kind of neat. When I took that concept and I sent it out to a bunch of test readers, What I had finished, the majority of I sent it to 20 people, and the majority of people were like, this would make a cool graphic novel. Like that was almost 60% of the people that came back. They're like, you should turn this into a graphic novel.
Yeah.
This sounds really neat. And then there was a lot of pointers and things like that. And I cleaned a lot of that stuff up. And then I think it was 2018 where it was like, why don't you do a book, a color, like a different book, a different color? And it was like, okay, well, I need to find someone because I know my skill level when it comes to writing. I know my skill level. So it was like, God was like, here you go. Here's Aaron. He's got a little better skill than you, Jay. Because, it's like you have a vision for something, which I'm pretty sure you do the same thing with your writing. You have a vision for something and you want it to be the best that it can possibly be. You want it to be. And it's like, if my imagination or writing can only go like here, but someone could take it up here, then why would you not want that? Why would you not want to see your original vision turn out to be what it is today? So you guys are going to love it, man. And like once Green is out and people get their copies, we're going to bring Aaron back and we'll do a spoiler talk. Does that work?
Yeah.
Then we could talk about how like
go into detail.
Yeah, because I don't want to give it away because I want people to enjoy it because I really think you're gonna love it. And what we've done is so we had Blue, so it's John. Then we have Green, which is Fortuna. But these two stories are parallel. So they take place at the same time.
Yeah, there's some overlap. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like some of the stuff that might have been missing from John, you can kind of be like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here.
Yeah.
And then
I'm filling some blanks.
Yeah, I'm trying to not mess it up. The ending of Blue, like near the ending with the big adventure, people are like, that was the big question. Like, how did she get there? How did that happen?
Right,
All that stuff. And then Green kind of like answers a lot of those questions. So
that it does.
And now we're going into the next. I can't even talk about that because I don't want to slip up anything.
Yeah, we shouldn't say anything, right? Just
for the next color.
Yeah.
So we'll just leave it at that. But I just on a personal note, Aaron has been an amazing friend through all this, an amazing creator through all this. And out of everyone in the world, I think, like I said, I think God just said, this guy's going to help you, Jay, with your vision, because the things that when we talk, it's almost like, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking in my mind. And I'm sure working with me has been a little difficult at times, but I can't imagine,
No comment.
Yeah. I can't imagine, I'm the easiest person to work. Sometimes maybe a little too easy, but Aaron has been a godsend, and you are going to absolutely love this series, especially when we finally get this thing finished. So, but I will say this, working with Aaron is funny too, because
what?
I get a random text. The story's crap. I'm throwing it all away.
Every week.
Hold on. Let me go through it again. Let me make sure.
Yeah, that has not changed. That has not changed. I said that with Blue. I said that with Green. The next
just
one.
Random out of the blue, man. I could just be enjoying a nice, crisp walk in the winter air, and then, Jay, I freaking hate this story. It's not. And like a week later, all right, I think we're good now.
Well, because sometimes I get to a point, I'm like, okay, I like this. A lot of the times, come on, it's so bad. It's so bad until it gets good.
But I think that's the brain of an artist creator.
Yeah,
you are never satisfied with you're just never satisfied with what's out there. And I read and I'm like, nah, man, this is great. And he's like, no, it sucks. Stop it. Like, throw it away.
Yeah, dialogue is trash. Character development trash.
But that's the thing I love about you, man. Like, you're always striving. You're always striving to
trying to get better.
I guess, yeah, get better or perfect yourself, which striving for man, I'm going to mess up this quote. So I'll just make up my own. Anyway, the
Smart.
striving for perfection is a good thing, but you'll never achieve it kind of thing.
Mhm.
Right? It's like you should always strive for perfection and like in your passion, but
Mhm.
you will never meet it. So you constantly keep, it's like a constant, you keep going.
Yeah. It's
So
it's been I I don't think that being a perfectionist is good, but I do acknowledge that at times I'm a perfectionist, and so I've had to take a step back and reflect.
I think
And
I've told you that too. I was like, you're such a perfectionist.
you probably have. So what I try to, and I mess up often. That's because I keep texting you. I keep saying it's trash,
Yeah,
but
I know.
I realize that what I need to aim for is just excellence. It doesn't need to be perfect or whatever's perfect in my mind, because it's such
Yeah,
an abstract idea anyway. Like, what if blue is perfect? What exactly does that mean?
yeah.
It's hard to satisfy me, when it comes to work and writing. 'Cause, I mean, there's so much trash out there, and I just
I
don't
know.
I don't want to contribute to it.
How do you so with blue and green,
Mhm.
how are you what do you think of the overall story so far? Like is this something you've enjoyed doing with me?
I have.
Yeah.
I've noticed, working with you, and I've like comparing that with other people. You're easy to work with, and you like my work. Like, you like my
Yeah, I
work a
do.
lot. And so I'd say to you, I'll text you and say, hey, I finished writing for this week. It's bad, it's trash, but have a
Yeah.
look. And you like it. And sometimes I take a step back and I say, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And then other times I say, okay, well, maybe he's right. Maybe he has a point. Maybe I am being too critical, too harsh on myself. It's been a fun process.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for the opportunity to work with you in this book. I mean, when I didn't hear from you, because we hadn't talked in a while, I was thinking to myself, like, after I submitted that to you, I thought to myself, I don't know what happened to it. I may never hear from this guy again. And then you text me, and it's like, oh wow. And then you said, hey, by the way, like, this is becoming a graphic novel. I'm thinking, a graphic novel? That's that's
Yeah.
that's interesting. But yeah, I like where the project has taken us. I mean, it's been a journey. But what I really like is I'm used to writing short stories. So, like, we're talking about Honey Dreams, and there are a bunch of short stories in it. This writing a novel, I've done it before, but not often. And here I am writing, and then I'm continuing the story, and then continuing the story,
Yes.
and you sort of, you get accustomed to the characters. And
Yes.
with a short story, you're like capturing maybe several moments, but usually a scene and a certain idea. But this is, with the novel, it's continual. With the novels, it's continual, and yeah, I like it. It's a fun experience. I'm eager to see where it takes us next.
It's man, it's been a blast.
Mhm.
But can you walk us through real quick? So for someone out there that maybe wants to become a writer,
Sure.
um, what is your and everybody's different. That's why I asked, but what is your so what is your process? I know what the process was with Green. There was storyboarding, there was
Mhm.
this, there was, okay, let's talk on the phone, let's make sure this happens,
Mhm.
remember this part. And then it was going back, like, because Blue was so many years ago, it was like, all right,
Mhm.
let's just we got to connect that here.
Oh
And
my gosh, that was
there was a
tough.
lot of all right, this changed. Remember we did this. And it was just a
Mhm.
constant, so the way our process is probably different, but like by yourself, if you get this idea, so like you get an
Mhm.
idea to write a novel, write another story.
Mhm.
What would be your process? Like, how would you get that done?
So,
Like, where do you start? So,
if you have an idea and you feel very passionate about it, sometimes you can just write. There, some of the stories in my book, I felt very passionate about it in the moment, and I just wrote, and I wrote it from beginning to end, like, in one sitting. But other stories require more planning, and so typically, what I'll do is I'll start with a synopsis, and I'll say, well, this is the general idea, and then I'll ask myself what needs to happen, and I'll just storyboard. So I will write in what happens in the story from beginning to end, and that includes dialogue, any significant events. And after that's done, I'll just go in and I'll just start writing, and I will use the storyboard as a reference. And it should just be a reference, though. Sometimes I get, if it works, then you should get tied to it. But sometimes you look at the storyboard and you say, "This is trash." No, my favorite word, and then you have to sort of disregard it or skip
So
over
what
that
does your
point.
storyboard look like? Because some people
Yeah,
they use boxes,
yeah,
and they do it that way. Is yours similar? Is it different? I mean, I know, but the people don't know.
sure, sure,
So
sure. So I use bullet points, and I
Mhm.
use bullet points. I write by hand, depending on the project. Like when I work with you, I'm usually typing. I'm always typing. But bullet points, and I will start with an event. So this happens, and then within that, I'll have some sub bullet points if there are like certain lines that need to be said in that scene or certain actions that need to take place. And then after that main bullet point, and then some smaller ones, then we're on to the next major bullet point, and I'll just do that from beginning to end. And sometimes, I mean, you got to take a break because
yes,
you get stuck. And listen, I have often gotten stuck with blue, green,
yeah,
the next one, and sometimes you gotta take a step back and just allow yourself some time to meditate and reflect.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Or
it's
have a
essential.
call, and I'll be like, "Nah, man, do it like this." It's like,
Yeah,
don't forget about this. But
talking to
it's
you has helped a lot.
the is that also part of your world building as well? Like you build it off of these certain events, or
Yeah, I don't. And when I'm world building, certain details will make it onto the storyboard, but I don't
Mhm.
elaborate on those details in the storyboard. The storyboard is really just for like the plot, like sequences within the plot, the narrative. I will have a separate document for world building, and it's labeling things the same way. So I'll have a header and then bullet points describing whatever it is that
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying to
have.
convey.
This is hold on, hold on.
Okay.
It's here somewhere. Here it is. Hold on, I'm gonna get it.
Uh
This
oh.
is. I don't want to give anything away. This is my Achromatic Chronicles story. As you can see, I've got different colors on different tabs. This
Some
is the
foreshadowing.
outlines. These are the writings. This I don't want to open it in front of everyone, but like I mean, it's been through heck and back. Like the cover's ripped off, but I still like hold on to it. So it's like, let's see if I could show anything here. Um, some of these are not going to make the final product. I know it is, but yeah, like because I have yellow, and I actually built this book myself. So I took the tabs, with the different colors,
Uh huh.
like purple's in here, green and blue and red and all that stuff
Yeah.
to just like what you said. So it was like, okay, like I'm stuck on blue, like where I want John to go. And then I would just jump over to purple and be like, okay, yeah, we can do this thing right here. And then
Mm-hmm.
I would jump over to yellow and like stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's like, I guess you call that the Bible of the world building, is what I have over here.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk and everything, I usually have that book in front of me and I go, oh yeah. And then like there's some stuff I got a big X because you'll say, hey, let's do this. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. What I wrote is stupid. So let's just get that. Let's get that out.
That's funny.
Let's get that out over and done with. But but to see this mess that I have here next to me,
Uh-huh.
that's always next to me because you never know an inspirational hit, and
It hit you. Listen, it hit
yeah,
you
and then
at
it's just
crazy
like
times.
let's just jot it down now because you
Uh-huh.
might forget it later, or whatever. The worst thing ever is when I'm taking these flights and it's like when you're stuck on a plane and you can't do anything, it's like then all of a sudden I'm like majorly inspired
You don't
for
bring
like
something to write?
stories.
You
What's
don't bring
that?
something to write on? You don't bring something to write
I
on?
do, but
Okay.
sometimes I don't. Sometimes I forget because it's like I'm in a hurry.
Yeah.
And I had learned now, yeah, like there were some times I didn't have it. I learned
Mhm.
now that book and another one will always be with me
Yeah.
anywhere I go, like even
Yeah.
in the car, wherever it is. It's like you just write it down. You just write it down, and whether you use it or not, whether you because you never know, right?
Yeah, you
Like
don't.
You never know what will make it in. Like, I know, like, some of the stuff that I have here probably won't make it into the Achromatic Chronicles series, but it's still there. You never know.
You could
I
use it
mean,
for
like,
something else.
you never know. Like,
Yeah.
what's crazy is I think we're gonna wrap this up in 4 books. So we have blue, we have green, we have the next one, and then
Oh,
the
whew.
conclusion.
I thought you were about to say it.
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Okay.
And but originally, like, I had a ton of, like, I had primary and secondary colors, each had their own chapter and story. So I mean, if we launch green and it does like 10 million, then maybe I'll be like, hey Aaron, you want to move to Florida so we could just figure out the rest of all the
We'll
we
see
have
what
the money
happens.
now. Here you go, man. Here's your home. It's like it'll be your summer home.
About to
You know,
move and everything. That's
it's
wild.
you can keep your Richmond place, you can go back and visit, but you got a summer home here. We can just sit and
Go
like
back and
let's just
visit. You're
oh
not gonna
man,
let
that
me
would be
leave.
it would be incredible, it'd be incredible. But like you never know like what will happen with these things. So,
Yeah.
but no one could ever look back and say we didn't, you didn't take something that you're passionate about and try.
Yeah.
And that's why I love to be surrounded with people like that, because it's encouraging and challenging me. Like the last thing here, like on your website, you have dancer,
Hmm.
writer, dancer.
Dancer.
Now, if anyone ever saw me dance, they would immediately call 911 and thought my
Oh
ankle
my
broke
gosh.
or my knee just got twisted funny.
It wouldn't be that bad.
It's
Have you
pretty
done
bad.
some dancing? Like even a class or
So I'm
two?
like I'm like the guy that sits on the wall and just kind of keep the beat going, like that's
I
me.
gotcha.
Or I'm the drink dancer. Like I'll have a Coke in my hand and be like, yeah, hey, da, da, da. Yeah, there it is, like that. That's it.
I've seen
That
that.
that's it. But you teach break dancing?
No, you always say that. No, listen, I'm too old to be breakdancing. Oh my goodness. You always say that.
I
No,
do
no,
say
no.
that. What's wrong with me? Yeah, you're
I'm
not
not spinning
spinning
on my
your
head.
head or anything like that.
No,
So
no head spins. No head spins, no
no,
windmills.
it's hip hop dancing.
Yep. So I teach a hip hop class, free class every Tuesday, and it's a community class. So it's open to all skill levels and ages. Yeah, and it's an hour-long class. Uh, Pull people in from various places, and I improvise, and they follow along. So we warm up, stretch, dance facing the mirror. We'll go across the floor at some point, and then we cool it down, and then go our separate ways until we do it all over again the next week.
You do this for free, brother. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
And people can donate if they want, but I in my mind, I see it as a way to give back and to serve people. So
I love that, man.
yeah, I don't mind it. As long as I can afford it, I'll continue to do it.
I love that. And people enjoy your class. You have like a couple regulars that are always there.
I have more than a couple. So class is generally small since I don't have social media, and I know you've been trying to get me on social media.
You're the
Um,
smartest man in the world for not having social media. I tell you that too. So
I've been avoiding social media, but so class is small because of that. But the ladies that do show, yeah, they're regulars. And I've had some people that are not regulars. Like I've had some larger classes, but generally smaller class. I would say like 4 to 6 people, and all of them, yeah, the same faces every week. They love it.
man, that's awesome though. You
Thanks.
never hear about that, doing something for free. People are getting exercising, learning to dance.
Yeah, they enjoy it. It's interesting because I see it as a way to serve, but you don't always know that what you're doing is impacting people, and then sometimes you find out. Like my students like to take me out for my birthday or something like
Oh
that,
man,
and
that's
they'll find
awesome.
ways to show me that they really appreciate it, and then it just puts it in perspective. Because I'm just going to teach. I'm not thinking to myself, oh, they love it, but they really do.
So if I were to walk into class one day, what
Yeah.
what would I expect?
If you were to walk into class, you should expect to be greeted warmly. You should expect to see a lot
Mm.
of smiles. The ladies, and I say ladies just because there's a lot of women in dance class. Like all the dance classes that I've either taken in college or taken outside of college, But yeah, people, they're very welcoming. Of course, going to encourage whoever comes in the door, and I've had some new faces. Yeah, and I explain the class to you, and then we start dancing. I tell you
Do
to
we
have fun.
stretch first at least? Like, do I got to stretch the old hammies out,
You got to
And
warm up first. No, no, no,
okay,
no.
so
You
is it
can't
a
just go into
warm-up
stretching.
dance?
Yeah, yeah. So it's just some low tempo movements, and then we stretch. Yeah, got to warm up the body a bit first.
And then it's an hour long.
Yep. So we dance facing the mirror for most of the class, and then at some point we'll go across the floor. You might like that, and I mean that sarcastically. Where I improvise for the most part, but
Yeah.
for going across the floor, which means we start off on one side of the room and then go to the other in groups. And so I'll give them like an 8 count or so, and then they'll do that movement going from one spot to the other. And yeah, we take turns. Would you participate, Jay?
So Aaron, yeah, here it comes. Well, Aaron's been trying to get me to show up and do this. And I said, if
You
Green
dissed
does $1
me.
million in sales, I will surprise him. I will fly to Virginia. I know his class schedule, and I will walk through those doors on a Tuesday at 7:00
All right.
and be like, "We did it, man! We did it! Now, let's watch this." I said I did tell you that I said I'd have to do a private one first.
I
Just
think you
a
mentioned something like that, but I don't think I agreed to that part.
You did it. These are like a list of demands. It's like, here's my list of demands to get me to dance. And you're like, no, you got to be like everybody else, Jay. Come
Yeah.
through the door.
You could just watch some videos before you show. Watch some videos on YouTube.
Boy, that'll be something. Because when you're by yourself, okay, and you watch videos and you dance, you think you look really good. And when you're by yourself, that's like singing in the shower.
Oh, yeah.
Singing in the shower and like, I'm better than anybody out there. I'm better than Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
And then when you get out there in front of people and sing, and
You're
everyone's
like,
like,
"Woo."
"Oh boy, like keep your day job, man." I
But
know
that's
the
why you
Lord
come
said
to
make a
class.
joyful noise, but come on, brother, like that's
Oh my gosh. That's what class is for, though. It's for experimenting, stepping outside your comfort zone, having fun.
man. The fact that you want to give back and do that stuff is just that's a beautiful thing, and more people
Thank
in this
you.
world need to do that. They really do. But hey, man, we hit our hour mark, and like, I know you're a busy man. Maybe not so much today, but we'll definitely we'll do a live one now that you're figuring this whole streaming thing out. When we do spoilers, we'll
Oh
do a
my
spoiler
gosh.
one in a few months.
Okay.
And Aaron, I got to get him on a plane to Dallas to autograph these books.
Yeah, at some
He's
point.
if not a bigger part, he's just part of it as I am. And so he's going to be autographing all the books as well. And he was like, I got to get on a plane.
Yeah,
Like,
no kidding. No kidding.
I was like, yes,
Whew.
yes, we're going to go to Dallas and we're going to sign everything. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. You
All
might have a
right.
traumatic experience on the plane, but that'll be all right.
Listen, it's not on the planer yet, so I'm not even.
Yeah,
Maybe,
yeah.
maybe.
Not yet, but soon enough. Is there anything else you'd like to close with, or anything that's coming up that you'd like to share? Like another book? Again, his book, Honey Dreams, will be in the description.
Yeah.
If you're listening, this episode is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Wherever you listen to podcasts, this will be there. But it will be in the description of all those if you want to check it out and pick it up and show some love over there. So make sure you check it out. But is there anything else like coming up?
Well, so I appreciate the support. So thank you. And thank you to the viewers. So yeah, I would appreciate if people could check out the
There
book.
it is.
Yeah, there it is. I hope that the book, and I hope that this episode of Welcome to the Rebellion is an encouragement to your viewers. As we were discussing, sometimes we are afraid to step outside of our comfort zone and do something different. And I was not sure how people are going to respond to this book because it's super personal. Goes into relationships and addiction and things like that. But you grow so much when you decide to step outside of your comfort zone. Like you, Jay, you had an idea and you said, hey, needs help with this. Let me find someone. And then we met, and then
Yeah.
we started doing something. But that required you stepping outside of your comfort zone. I'm used to short stories. I had to step outside of my comfort zone. But you grow in the process. So if you are listening to this and you are on the fence about something, pray about it, think about it, and go for it.
And there you have it. I'd like to thank Aaron D'Anthony Brown for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
You're probably going to see him a lot more. This is awesome, man.
I'm camera shy. I don't know, Jay.
Yeah, but he break dances. I don't know, man. I know. I keep saying
my
that
God.
was he doesn't break dance. He doesn't break dance.
You're gonna get their expectations up.
I mean, the expectation would see me walk through that door. That would be quite the.
That's gonna happen. That has to happen.
You'd probably die laughing if you saw me walk through that.
And
door.
you said we're gonna record it, so that'll be something.
I know. What was I thinking when saying something like that? But that's up to the people to decide. $1 million in sales. That's it. That means someone could buy like 10,000 T-shirts, right? And it'd still be $1 million. Oh, well, I'm going to Virginia to break dance. I mean, I keep saying break. Now it's in my mind.
That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do.
Maybe that's it. Maybe deep down, I really want to like spin on some cardboard.
You're a break dancer at heart. That's what you want. That's what you want. I'll either learn it and then teach it, or I'll get somebody to sub for me, and then we'll learn it together.
Okay. There you go. That sounds good. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. We will catch you on the next one. And as always, check out all the links in the description below, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks for listening. We hope you were inspired today. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you in the next episode, and welcome to the Rebellion.